Good morning, beautiful. It is lovely to see you, and I've got to push the button on my timer because, otherwise I'd get lost in no time. Literally! So, here we are. I'm standing up on the steps for a reason, but I'll show you the day. You can probably hear it's a little bit breezy, and we have birds. And, the wind is coming from there. That's, more or less, northwest, whatever. Good morning, Linda! So, here's the sun, and we're looking down now on the magnolia, which is very pretty with the sun rays, and, But we have had some strong winds, and so everything's a bit beaten up. Nefertiti, it's lovely to see you! But I want to show you this. Beaten up and all, it's still a magnolia, you can see. It just happens. Jim, good morning, gorgeous. Amy, g'day, sweetie. So here we have the late magnolia. And hopefully, now we've had our windy time, the flowers will get to be flowers in peace. Andrea, good morning. Good morning, Inga. Good morning, Rudy. Thank you for the share, Jim. I always appreciate shares. So I'm just celebrating magnolia and the fact that it is now calm, well, only slightly breezy, and the flowers will hopefully not all be destroyed. So there they are. And look, we've still got a little bit of callfire blossom, if I can just get some focus for you. They started flowering in the middle of winter, and it's spring now, so they're carrying on. Lisa, good morning. Good morning, Jen. This is New Zealand native foliage and flora, and it's glorious. Oh, look, you never see this view because I don't stand on top of the steps very much. So this is an Australian, and growing right through it, you can see the leaves of our native wharariki flax, and this is the view down on the yellow daisy, and you can hear the branches and twigs getting caught in my hat. And there's the yellow daisy and the view from the top down on the terrace garden, which I will show you before I jump into today's topic, because we have some exciting things happening here. We have this it is a jonquil, see, multiple flower heads. This is a beautiful creamy white jonquil. It even has a name that I know. It's called iolanthe. And the flag irises are coming. Tra-la! They'll get a lot taller. They're going to get a lot taller, and they'll be covered in golden blossom. And look, the granny's bonnet is gearing up to flower as well. So as much as it's all happening in the front garden, look, there's another flower bud. Don't you love potential? Don't you love knowing that something beautiful is going to come? And that's what we do when we go into the unified field, and there are limitless potentials, and we get to choose what we want. And look, there's another daffodil here. It's a bit old, I forgot to show it to you. But there we go. So, and look, the very first of the bluebells are coming out. Although actually, I don't know if you can see, but these are kind of pinky, mauvey ones with blue down the middle, and they're not true bluebells. So they're and you'll see the bluebells when they come out. So, there we go. Good morning to everybody who's jumped on with me. It's lovely having you here. Yeah, I love potential. But I think there's a thing about potential that for a lot of people, potentials and unknowns are scary, right? And so it takes a bit of a shift to realise that the unknown has everything good in it as well. Now I want to not get off topic because I want to talk about, I got a question from one of our lovely community, and the question really was, look, this has been driving me crazy. It's this idea that everything in life is me expressed. And this whole concept of being the creator of everything in your life, and when it doesn't turn out the way I want it to, or I've done everything right as far as I know and it turns to crap, I then start looking for what I did wrong, and I get into analysis paralysis, and I end up blaming myself and feeling worthless and useless and all of that stuff, and I know that isn't right. That's not helping me. But it's where I get. So, what do you reckon? So this is what this post is about, because it's a really valid question, and I think we've all asked ourselves many times, what the feck did I do wrong? And I thought, this is a big one, how am I going to bite this one off? Sophia, Kathleen, good morning, beautiful beings. Thank you for joining us. So, where do you start? So the first thing that I managed to distill into my wonderful open-ended questions, it's really challenging taking an idea like this and distilling it into an open-ended question. Why am I so big about open-ended questions, the what ifs and what would it be like and how would it, because it gets you inquiring. There's no yes no answer. It's like, well, what would it be if everything in your life do? We absolutely do. But it's not all a literal representation of you. Because remember, every other conscious being on this planet is also creating. And if that doesn't do your head in, because, it's like, oh my God, yeah, that's right, I'm creating my entire universe. And everybody else is also creating their entire universe. Darling? Oh, I thought we were having an outage. Enough to the point that I walked back into the office to say, are we having an outage, darling? But we're not. We just had a major camel incursion. So turn up those knitting shields, Linda. You're doing a great job. That almost never happens. So back out of the house I go. That's my standard thing, is walk back to the... Remember that everybody, and somehow we created that, you see. But, you weren't thinking, oh, let's have a camel incursion, were you? Remember that everybody, 8 billion of us, we're all doing this. We're all doing it together. And imagine the mind of God for a minute, coordinating all of that, the unified field. Remember, I got to do this now. Remember, everything you think is matter is 99.99999999999% space. And in that space is frequency and information and consciousness. And consciousness, awareness is paying attention. Consciousness is awareness, paying attention. When you pay attention to something, then your energy flows. And that's how we collapse, very briefly, that's how we collapse potential into reality. How am I going to stitch this together? So we have physical dominion over, picking up the knife and fork and eating and washing our bodies and, moving through space and time doing that stuff. You have physical dominion over that as much as you happen to have. And so does everybody else. And you think the thoughts and do the behaviours and feel the feelings that are normal and habitual to you, and that generates a field, it generates a broadcast which manifests your life for you, and so does everybody else. And so, that's particle, the bit that you can see and touch and manipulate with your body and your mind, whatever. And then there's wave, which is your broadcast, and that is you as a quantum observer creating your life. And how do I do this? There are intersections. And you see, my wonderful frontal lobe has just supplied me with an example. When I was in sixth form, so I was 16, I took physics for a year. And I didn't do particularly well. It didn't grab me, man, if I'd understood now what physics was about, Anyway, one of the experiments that I remember is we had this tray of water and a couple of little, pointer thingies, which had a little motor on them to make them go up and down, in and out of the water. And when you take something and, even your finger and stick it in and out of still water, you're going to make a wave, right? And when you do that, you make these lovely concentric waves that go out from the point of the frequency, right? That's you, the broadcast. You are the broadcasting thing that's saying, make a frequency, this shape, this speed, this amplitude, the whole thing. And then when you introduce another one of those at the other end of the tray of water, it makes concentric circles too, because it's just a simple thing that goes up and down out of the water, and those two patterns interfere. And where the peaks of the waves meet, they make a higher point together, and where the troughs of the waves meet, they make a lower point together. And where a peak meets a trough, it's the same level as the basic starting point. Really basic physics, interference. So your field and my field, we are quantumly entangled and we interfere with each other, and because we are sharing our attention and our energy, we feel the field that we create. Because we're quantumly entangled, and the fact that you're on the other side of the planet got nothing to do with anything. We're in this together right now. Where your attention goes, there your energy flows. That's how that works. I love how this is unfolding. You do realise I don't know how I'm going to answer these questions half the time. So that, there's this quantum entanglement thing going on, and everybody's manifesting their best and worst desires and dreams all the time, consciously or unconsciously. And, think about the car accident, right? Which by default landed in your life because you weren't creating anything else. And, it changed you got an injury or whatever. It was also a quantum creation for that other person. So these things collide, and you think, how the hell did I do that? Or, you set yourself up to have an experience and then it all goes horribly wrong. And it's very complicated. So trying to work out exactly how and why it went wrong, hi Annie, will drive you insane, because to understand that, you've actually got to stop being you and you've got to become the mind of God, because it's that complicated. Okay, now I know what that was about. It's that complicated, and that's not the point. The point is, and if you go looking for the reasons and you're thinking, oh my God, I must have done this to myself, I must be to blame, and it's those words to blame that get us. You're like, who's to blame for this shit that hit my fan? The answer is nobody and everybody. It really isn't a useful question to ask. And blame itself can be one of those addictive survival emotions, and you get into a pattern of just always being the villain to yourself. And remember, we can be addicted to thoughts and feelings and happenings in a life that we don't even like, because your body gets accustomed to feeling like the villain. And you think, hang on a minute, I don't want to blame myself anymore for this stuff. I am the creator, and I am lovingly creating this for myself because I want to evolve. I'm giving myself an experience. The soul wants an experience. It wants to evolve. It wants to grow. It wants something new. And so, I understand this now. When shit comes down, when things break, when stuff goes wrong. Like, I thought that my website was nicely migrated to its new domain, and it was. But the www had not been put on the SSL certificate. So anybody who wanted to go to www.epiphany space got this really weird error. It says, well, this isn't secure. And I told our beautiful cis admin man, who I love to bits, to do it, and he got distracted because he's got lots of other stuff. And I had to tell him again, it's like, not a big deal. I know it's perfect. I trust that now. But before it would have been, So knowing why, it just doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But if you have a pattern of looking for someone to blame and you end up blaming yourself, realise that this is a habitual way of being. Hi, Holly! And to wonder, to speculate, to consider, to think, okay, if my creation is right now absolutely what I need, because I have this determination and this desire in me to grow, and if I am kind of an outpouching and an extrusion of divinity and the source and the unified field and the mind of God, which remember is 99.999999999 you just forget that because this is a convincing illusion, then everything that's happening to me is actually happening for me. And what I really need to change is this deep belief in myself that that's not true. This deep belief in myself that someone is punishing me, that there is someone to blame, that there's something wrong, that there's something to fix. No, there's only something to create. And when we can't, so, this is like judging your life as wrong or not good enough, or yourself as wrong or not good enough for not creating it the way you really believe it should be by now. And oh my God, I remember this. Like, here I am. I'm 54 years in this body, and I'm still not financially independent. Man, I used to be so pissed off about it. It's like, it's been so bloody long. What's wrong with me? Nothing at all. I just am still becoming that person. And I feel a lot more like that person now, and coincidentally, or not coincidentally, synchronistically, createdly, stuff is starting to show up in my life. And I'm not busting my ass chasing it. It's just coming to me. This is how it works. So really, that was the thing that I came to, is, oh my goodness, this thing of looking for something that I did wrong, or someone or something to blame, or a reason, is in itself a state of being, a habitual way of being, and that sits on top of this perception of life that there's something wrong, and that I'm broken, and that I need to fix myself, and I'm not creating well. You are creating well. You're creating perfectly every moment. What is around you is showing you exactly your creation, but not so you can go, oh God, I screwed that up. What a complete useless, lousy creator. No, you're an incredibly powerful creator. You just don't realize exactly what you're creating. And again, your reaction to it, your response to failure, we talked about this the other day, that's showing you what you really hold to be true within yourself. And remember, the universe has to endorse who we're being, and what we really know and feel and believe is true about us, that's what we see. So, and I'm quoting my inspiration, Joe Dispenza here, we're not punished for our sins. We're punished by our sins immediately. Who I'm being is what I experience in life. So as soon as I change who I'm being, my experience of my three-dimensional reality is different. Even if apparently on the outside nothing's changed. Even if nothing appears to be different, but I feel different. And I realize that I have created myself more abundant or successful or whole or healed or whatever it is. And it's independent of the fact that, of whether I'm wealthy or healthy or happy or... I am happy, but it's independent of my circumstances. So this is another thing that we do with creation, is we go into the field, or, we do our visualization, which, by the way, visualization is nothing. If you visualize, the perfect home, you will see a picture of the perfect home because you visualized a picture of it. No, you have to get inside that place, inside your mind. You have to walk inside. You have to see it. You have to know how it smells. You have to know what it feels like, what it sounds like, what temperature it is. You have to be there. It has to become you. And when it becomes you, you're not looking for it anymore. It's you. You own it already. Nora, good morning, honey. But we, of course, we go and do that, and you can get really good at doing that, and then you open your eyes and you're still in the shack, or on the street, or your bank account's still empty, and you think, well, where's my stuff? Why hasn't it arrived yet? Well, for me, how long did I spend in lack? Oh my God, my entire life. I was programmed. Nobody's fault. Everybody who programmed me was doing their own thing, the same way, quantumly entangled with the entire consciousness of humanity. It's just how it was. And I might have to take a little bit of time. If I spent 54 years in this body, and I've been consciously creating for 1.5 of them, and man, am I seeing a change, but none of it has been magical kapow. My life is black one side and white the other. It's been step by step by step. And everybody wants the kapow, but the kapow happens step by step by step, and then you get a kapow. The old saying, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. It does. It really does. And that applies quantumly as well as physically, because we have to become it. Independent. Utterly independent of our circumstances. And then when you stop needing anything to change, you've become it. It's like it doesn't matter. I talked about that yesterday. This beautiful young man, Ricardo, who healed himself of cancer. And the link's in the bottom of the post, by the way. I found it, put it in, if you didn't see it. He just got to a place in himself where he really didn't mind whether he had cancer or not. And I know that sounds crazy. He was feeling so whole and so complete and so in love with the moment and with right now that it just ceased to be a thing for him. And of course, that was the point at which he started to heal. Because it was no longer who he was. He was no longer the person who was saying, what's wrong with me? What have I not done? Why is it not here? I've done all this work and I have this intention and I've done my visualization, which now is not a good thing. You've got to be it. You've got to get there inside yourself. It's got to be real to you. He's not doing any of that. He's just busy being who he wants to be. And then his body catches up with his mind. Cynthia, good morning. And I'm so aware of this myself. And I've got 2 minutes, so I'll talk about this, because this mystified me for a long time. I understand, and most of you will have some degree of understanding, depending how much you've read and listened to Joe and read Joe and listened to me, however good a job I've done of explaining it in 20-minute slots. We change our epigenetic expression when we change how we feel. And it is instant, right? But it can take a while to program your body to a new mind. Which, this young chap, Ricardo, he went through that journey. And Joe would say, because I've heard him say it often, and in different lectures and examples and things, well, do you think there's a gene for genius? Do you think there's a gene for abundance? Do you think there's a gene for being in love with life? And I was thinking, what are you talking about? What? But it's the genetic expression. Remember, genetic expression is moment to moment. When you learn a new fact, what happens in your head to make that new connection, that's genetic expression. It doesn't happen without a gene expressing itself. So if you feel whole, if you feel abundant, if you feel confident in life, I don't know, whatever it is, in that moment, you've changed your genetic expression, and there really is a combination of chemistry for every feeling that is possible to feel. And of course, that chemistry is going to fire up different things in your body to express. The more you be that, the more you practice being that, the more that chemistry becomes who you are and how you feel, and it's normal. You get a reset. It's a new normal. It's no longer normal to analyse and drive yourself crazy. It becomes normal to feel a trust in yourself and in life. And that's a journey. To go from that to that. And that's what we're doing. So, wow, I'm so grateful I managed to answer that question, at least to my satisfaction, and hopefully usefully to yours. Beautiful being. Thank you for joining me. I know I'm out of time. Big love. And remember, if you haven't seen the little things in the words, because I know not everybody reads, I am moving these lives to my Maddie Schaefer Manifestation Coaching page soon. I don't know when. I haven't got the inner prompt to do it, but I'm just waving the flag and saying, hey, it's going to move. I'll try to make it obvious. I'll definitely be telling you. So if you haven't liked the page and you want it to be easy to find these lives the minute they come up, then please do. So until then, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.